Hi, welcome to this virtual open day for MA Graphic Branding and Identity. I'm the course leader for MA Graphic Branding and Identity. My name is Paul Jackson, and I'm going to be talking you through the course. I'm going to be talking you through our ambitions as a course and our ambitions for you coming into the course. This is a virtual open day. When I do a real life open day, I often start by asking participants this question: should you be doing an MA? I ask this question for a number of reasons. One of them is because I'm trying to find out why you want to do this. Why do you want to do a master's in graphic branding and identity? And what do you think it's going to do for you? And that leads into another question for me, which is, how is it going to help you get to where you want to be? An MA isn't just an automatic progression. It's not just an automatic follow on from your undergraduate course. It's not about telling you ways of doing things. An MA is a different type of course. It's a research course. It's an opportunity for you to really develop your practice. It's an opportunity for you to do research, all of which I'm going to talk about in a short while. But the reason I ask these questions, why do you want to do this? Why is this the right time for you to be doing this? And where are you trying to get to? These are really big questions that I'd like you to think about if you're thinking about applying for this course. It's a lot of money. And I don't just mean in terms of the fees. I mean in terms of the time out that you're taking. You're going to be spending a lot of your time studying. You're going to be spending a lot of your time collaborating and doing different kinds of work. And you're not going to be able to spend that time earning money. You're going to be living in one of the most expensive capital cities in the world. You are going to be tempted by all kinds of adventures. You're going to want to go to new places. You're going to want to have new experiences. You're going to want to eat new donuts. And that's going to cost you a lot of money. And that's a big investment. So you'll have thought about these things already, but I'm just asking you to think seriously about the time ahead. And if this course can genuinely give you what you are looking for. So what to expect? I'm not going to lie to you. We're a pushy course. We are not content with branding being what it is today. We're not content with massive consumerism, massive production, massive replication of old ideas. And that means that this isn't a course that's about typography, logotypes, fancy image making, beautiful packaging. They're part of it. But branding is nebulous. It is often changing. It is always looking for something new. And that means we can't sit still. We can't be comfortable. We can't come in with the skills we've got and think, I just need to make these 10% better and then I'll get the perfect job. That's not what we're interested in as a course. We're interested in pushing you. We're interested in you not being comfortable. And the reason for that is because branding is massive. Our subject area, graphic branding and identity, is intersectional. It looks at so many other things that aren't just about graphic design, illustration, advertising, strategy. It reaches out across disciplines. It touches upon psychology. It touches upon aspects of social identity, inclusivity, accessibility. It looks at audiences. It looks at social upheaval. It looks at cultural changes. It looks at technology. It looks at futures. It looks at histories. And in our beautiful, compact 45 weeks, we're trying to get through as much of that as we possibly can. So like I say, this is not a how-to course. This is not tips and tricks. If you want to get better at Photoshop, go on a Photoshop course. If you want to improve logos, sit somewhere quiet, work in Illustrator, draw more. You don't need to spend money and time on this course in this environment to do those things. What we're doing is something else. MA Graphic Branding and Identity positions design practice as a force for creating diverse, relevant, ethical, and socially aware brands. It extends beyond visual identity, typographical, and logo design, as I've said. It is a way of thinking, making, inquiring, and resolving. So I like to think about the course metaphorically. I like to think of it as a journey. I like to think of you as people who are about to go out on a big journey. Now, whenever we're getting ready to go somewhere, we usually put a bag together, and inside that bag, we pack the things that we're going to need because we have a sense of what that journey is going to require. And once we've packed our bags, stretched our legs, we go. When you come back from any journey, you've had experiences, you've changed. And that means that if you go on another journey in the future, you'll have learned something that might mean that you adapt the way that you approach similar journeys in the future. You might pack your bag a little bit differently. You might stretch your legs a little bit differently. Now, I like to think about creative practice in the same way. That whenever we're starting a new creative project, whenever we're giving a new brief, a new challenge, we think about what we already know. And that knowledge is what we bring to that situation. We have this base of expanding and improving knowledge. We know how to do certain things. We know how to design in certain ways, use certain programs, develop certain research methods. So we approach these things with that understanding. But if we're doing this right, every time we go through a project, every time we get ready for the next brief, we're better than we were before because we had experiences that we weren't expecting. We did things that stretched us and challenged us. So every time we get ready for that next journey, we're new people with little sprinklings of the old person inside us. And that means our identities as designers are always changing. New problems, new audiences, new chaos, new places to be, new ways of thinking. So on the course, we try and do as much of that as we can, which means we like to go on lots of journeys and do lots of projects. We like to pack projects into our MA. We don't want you to do a singular MA research project. We want you to think about what it is that you're passionate about as a designer and explore them in different ways. We want you to fill your portfolio up with exciting, adventurous trips into the unknown so that each time you've done that project, you bring it back, your bag is getting that little bit fuller, that little bit more richer. Think about your bag of stuff that you bring to each project as a growing repertoire, a growing palette of ways of doing things. Think about how you offer that to your clients in the future, to employers in the future. They're not just interested in seeing typographical finish. They're not just interested in seeing the beautiful stuff that's in your portfolio because the world abounds with people who can do beautiful things. So what they're interested in, we believe on this course, is your repertoire, is the ways that you explore project, the ways that you answer briefs, and the way that you can talk about that. You can talk about it as an experience. You can tell people how you can apply that knowledge to a host of unpredictable situations. The more of this you do, the better you become. The richer your repertoire, the better your bag of tricks. So when I say this, MA Graphic Branding and Identity is a way of thinking, a way of making, a way of inquiring, and a way of resolving. What I'm talking about here is your process on this course. That each process that you go through involves thinking, strategizing, developing insight, looking at what the clients want, what the problem is, and who this is for. We have to think about audiences. We have to think about identity. We have to think about representation. We have to think about appealing to as many people as we can. We can do that because we're generous, because we're trying to make the world a better place. But we can do that because we're trying to sell the best ideas, the best beliefs to as many people as we can reach. We have to think about the ways that we make. We have to think about what it is to make graphic work, what it is to make imagery, visual signs, messages that intersect people's daily lives. We have to think about where they're going and why they go in those places. And how do we insert the messages of modern brands into people's everyday lives? And this helps us resolve the problems that we set for ourselves. So we do think about the course as you going into unknown territory, because trust me when I say there is no point in you spending this amount of time and this amount of money on something that keeps you where you already are. We want to push you out there. We want to push you into ideas, places, projects that scare you, that don't necessarily go the way that you're thinking they're going to go, and sometimes go wrong. This is a safe, nurturing environment where you can make brilliant mistakes that make you into a better practitioner. We're an MA. That means that we're a critical course. And when I say critical, that means that we look at information, we look at knowledge, we look at experience, we look at practice, and we use that to position who we are as designers. Your critical position on this course is really important. The course is about situating yourself as the type of practitioner that you want to be, the type of designer that you want to be, so that you know where you fit. You know what your ambitions are. You know where you're trying to get to. This course will transform you in some way. It will give you things that you didn't even know existed. It will make you think about the way that you do things in ways that you didn't expect. We're in a master's course, which means we're a research course. And this is a really important thing to think about. Now, if you've never done academic research before, or if you've done something like a thesis or a dissertation as part of your undergraduate work, or if you've done research in very much this is how I start my project kind of way, then it can be quite tempting to think about research as the first part of the journey that you're about to go on. I need to find out as much as I can, and then I can do the thing I'm going to do. That's not how we address the idea of research. Somebody once said to me, how much research do we do on your course? And I said, well, do we do 30% research, 50%, 75%, or 100% research? This is 100% research. But you've got to start reevaluating what it means to be a researcher. Because as far as we're concerned on this course, all design is research. Because you are constantly trying to find something out. You might be trying to find that out through desk research, through interviews, surveys. You might be trying to find it out through experimentation, through focus groups, through putting things in front of people. But every time you finish a project, every time you produce an outcome, you have to understand if it's answered the problem that you set out with. And the only way to find that out is to test it. And testing is a part of research. And if it's not doing what it needed to do, you reevaluate, you do it again. And if it is doing what it's supposed to do, you move on to the next problem and you start over again. You will never stop asking questions about your practice. Ergo, you will never stop researching on this course. That's how we do it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the structure of the course. So we are a 12-month master's course. Inside that 12 months, you will do 45 weeks of study with 3 weeks and 4 weeks as designated study breaks where you're not in LCC, but the rest of the time you will be studying in college. The course breaks down into what we call blocks. There are 3 blocks in the course. The first block is in the autumn term. The second block is in the spring term. The final block runs through the summer term. Within the first block, there is 1 unit, and that unit is called Situating Practices. In the second block, there are 2 units called Professional Practices and Collaborative Unit. In the final block, there is 1 final project, and that is called the Master's Project. Each block is 15 weeks long. And during that 15 weeks, you're going to work on a series of projects. So for example, in Situating Practices, which is a single unit, you'll work on between 3 and 5 separate projects. Some of them will be individual, some of them will be collaborative. All of them will use different methodologies, which is to say you will be tasked with developing a way of researching and designing within each project. And all of them will result in an output of some kind, depending on the brief or the project challenge that you're responding to. When you get to the end of a unit, so when you've done those 3 to 5 projects, you'll be given time to write up. And when we say write up, what that means is that you'll be preparing a report and you will be presenting a portfolio of design outputs and provocations. Across the entire course, you write 10,000 words. In the first unit, you'll write 2,500 words. That can sound like a lot, but trust me when I say you'll have plenty that you want to talk about after you've done that work. In the second unit, which is Professional Practices and Collab, you'll write around another 2,500 to 3,500 words. And for the final master's project, you'll give us 1 5,000 word review and a portfolio of the project work that you develop for your master's project. Each one of these units are steps in the progression towards your master's qualification. And you come into an MA, you're not a master's student yet. You're a master's student, but you're not a master's graduate yet. And mastery, this idea of becoming better, this idea of becoming more informed, more knowledgeable, a more diverse designer, that comes through progression. It comes through trying different approaches, using different methodologies, designing different responses to research problems, and testing them. So by the time you get to that master's project, you will be able to define a project which suits you, challenges you, and puts something in your portfolio which exemplifies what it is to be a master of graphic branding and identity. The biggest project on this course is you. You're going to do a lot of branding and identity projects throughout your 12 months here. But really what this is about is shaping you as a practitioner, shaping you as a researcher, shaping you as someone who can go into industry and start knocking on doors, be proud of the work that you've done, but also be able to talk about it, to talk about how you did it, to talk about why it's important, the work that you're doing. And this is something that we really arm the students with throughout the course. It's the confidence, it's the ambition, it's the vision to do the kind of work that you want to do. So on this course, we really do push this idea of you looking for the projects that you want to do. That means that we'll always give you an array of choices. We will say, here are things that you could do. What suits you? And how are you going to do it? So that means that you will develop methodologies. You will figure out how you're going to research and figure out how you're going to design these things. It means that when you do things like competitions, you're coming in with a fresh viewpoint. On the course, we're really big fans of competitions from a variety of different organizations. Our students do really well in competitions. They have fresh approaches. They have really intelligent ways of researching and designing. And when that's embedded into a pitch, and when that results in excellence, then our students win. We've had students win yellow D&AD pencils. We've had students win Pent Awards. We've had students win Creative Conscience prizes. We've had students place in ISTD, which is the Society for Typographical Design. We've had students go on to win internships through internship prizes such as Pearl Fishers, which you can see here. This is a course where our students do well. The reason they do well is not because of us exclusively. It's because they figured out how to use us, how to use this to springboard them into the future that they want. This is why it's important to have that sense of where you're trying to get to so that you can plan that journey. All we're ever going to do is have conversations with you, ask you questions, put things in front of you. There's 4 of us working on the course as a core team, which is me, Ellen, Rob, and Pearl. We're the 4 principal tutors on MA Graphic Branding and Identity, but there's more than that. We are an expansive network of collaborators, and that means that we talk to as many people as we can physically get our hands on and invite them to come in and talk to you. That is people from backgrounds in strategy, production, graphic design, media design, typography, people who are working in coding, people who are working in digital, people who are working in print, publication, people who are working in every aspect of the creative practice. It's really important, not only that you meet lots of people and get lots of opinions about what you're doing, but that you see the variety of practices that are at work in contemporary branding and identity. Because there are jobs out there that you will have never heard of. There are ways of working out there. There are ways of making money out there. There are ways of having an incredible career out there that don't come up very often in your everyday life. You don't see these things, but they are there, they are happening. And we want to introduce you to people that do those jobs. We want you to get that sense of ambition and that sense of vision for what you're going to do going forwards. So we do a lot. Like I say, it's intense. The week on MA Graphic Branding and Identity that we use for teaching is split into 3 principal teaching days. We teach on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. On Mondays, we tend to begin the week with lectures and what we call brand speak. The lectures are often given by external practitioners, and brand speak is given by you, the student. We see Monday mornings as an opportunity to establish themes, ideas, look at practices that can fuel our week. We start on Monday mornings with the lectures and the brand speak, and we go into what we call practices workshops. And this is where we look at the principles of branding. We look at branding from a lot of different angles, and we workshop themes. We run those all the way through the course. In the afternoons on Mondays, we often hold open studios, studio visits, or field trips. And they are to a number of different places. Open studios is faculty access, where you get to work in the studios and to talk to your tutors. Studio visits are when we go off site to go and visit different branding and identity studios around London. And field trips are where we go to museums, galleries, and go and see relevant exhibitions to our ongoing practice. On Tuesdays, we do practice workshops. And this is where you'll be working on briefs. So in the first unit, you'll be working on one of your situating practices briefs. You'll be working on competition briefs later on through the course, and you'll be working on your master's projects on those sessions as well. We have something called Discourse Cafe, which runs on Tuesdays, which is an opportunity to develop your reading and writing skills, to think about how you construct academic writing and academic portfolios. And that's supported with our language development team from LCC. In the afternoons on Tuesdays, we have open studios and we have one-to-one tutorials happening as well. We think it's really important that you're getting regular tutorial support, which means that you'll be able to sign up for a personal tutor all the way through the course. On Thursdays, again, we continue with our practices workshop series, and we'll also be running open studios and discourse cafes on Thursday afternoons as well. So Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, they're an early start or a 10 o'clock start, and they generally run through till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We leave Wednesdays and Fridays free for you to do self-directed study, which is to say, working on your own project work, collaborating, and using technical workshops around UAL. It's a busy week, but it's a good week. And that's pretty much how we run our week. Wednesdays and Fridays, like I say, are self-directed, and this is an opportunity for you to go and experience the breadth of technical workshops that are running in LCC and to explore UAL and London beyond. More often than not, you'll be doing project work during that time frame. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with me. I did show you my email address on an earlier slide. So if you do want to talk to us about any aspect of the course before you file an application, please feel free to get in touch and email. Apart from that, good luck. If you're applying, I really look forward to seeing your application and hopefully meeting you in the future. My very best.